Good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming here so we can recap briefly our trip, the humanitarian aid trip we just did to Kiev, Ukraine. First and foremost, thank you to Menachem Siegel for for running this entire trip and putting it all together. And we certainly appreciate everyone's involvement in coming out here today. From the moment we got onto this trip, from the moment we've left the U.S. together with all the amount of supplies that we brought along with us, whether it was clothing that we brought for those in Ukraine, or whether it's menorahs, candles, dreidels, things for Hanukkah, or a tremendous amount of supplies that we brought with us. We all remember what happened at the airport. We had issues getting the stuff on the plane. The airline didn't want to take the supplies, and ultimately, when they heard this humanitarian aid, things were worked out and we were able to bring it along. The trip itself, obviously we knew we were going. This wasn't a trip to Disneyland. This wasn't a luxury trip. We knew exactly where we were going. We knew our mission. Getting there, seeing the people, how appreciative they all were that we were there, that we came to stand in solidarity with them. We came there in Chizuk. We came there to spend the Shabbos with them. We came there to spend the weekend with them. And we also were there at a chasana for a young person in Kiev, a young man in Kiev who got married. I think the highlight of my trip was seeing the children growing up over there, the happiness they have. We here in America, we have the luxury of toys and all kinds of items, and they don't have too much over there, and yet they're so happy. They're happy over there, the people that we saw. But they need our help. They need our help to assist them, as we know, is trying times over there in Kiev right now, in Ukraine. There's unstable government right now, and because of that, they need our help. I think the meeting together with the mayor of Kiev, also meeting with the Israeli ambassador, it showed them clearly and unequivocally that we, the Americans, the Jewish community, a very large Jewish prominent community here in America, stands in solidarity with them, and that meant a lot to them. The fact that they saw that there are people here that care about them, that really meant a lot to them. I think that right now what's important to us is to not just let this trip fizzle out in the background, but rather do anything and everything in our power, so to speak, to continue what we just started now. We started an awareness of what's going on to our brethren there in Ukraine right now, and I think it's important for us to be able to keep that and keep the continuity going. I do have here, for those members of the media that are here, I do have here, which we're going to hand out shortly, who exactly we met, when we met them, where we were at, Maiden Square, etc., and I'm going to hand it out shortly to the media. Beforehand, I would just like to give an expression of appreciation for your call upon Menachem Siegel. Menachem, you knew this was coming. This doesn't have a green one. This is coming. I want to thank Menachem for the tremendous amount of work that he put into this. And on behalf of Lakewood Township, those that went on the trip, we thank Menachem for everything that you've done to make this happen together.
I appreciate everybody who came with us on the trip. I can't even begin to express the appreciation from the entire community in Kiev. At the wedding, after 3 days of spending the entire weekend with the community in Kiev, I could probably count over 10 people. 10 of them came over to me and were literally crying and thanking me so much for everything that was done to be mechazik, to inspire the Jewish community in Ukraine. We at United Jewish Communities of Eastern Europe and Asia are appreciative of everyone that came, Mayor Miller, and especially Rabbi Yaakov Wenger from Lakewood, who was there to assist us from the beginning organizing this trip. This trip meant so much for the children, for the adults, for the elderly that we visited, the refugees in the old age home. Thank God we were able to bring money to help for the wedding for Natan and Chana, which was by far the most beautiful wedding ever in Ukraine, Jewish wedding ever in Ukraine. And everyone that came along on this trip added so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Menachem. If I could just in a moment just encapsulate what we saw over there. The Jewish community, you see there a Jewish community, a thriving Jewish community, after the many years of communism, and it's interesting. The older folks speak Yiddish, because that was the mama language, that was the language they spoke many, many years ago. Then you had the years of communism. The middle-aged people, they only speak Russian. and the younger generation speaking Hebrew, speaking English, and speaking Russian. The community that we saw, there was a thriving Jewish community. We ate Friday night. Each of us went to another younger man, went to another person from the yeshiva community. We ate by his house. And I have to tell you, we were so impressed with the family. Again, small apartments, not too much there, but yet they're happy people, and they're living a life as a from a year, and they appreciated that we came. Just to see what it's like over there, the shuls, the thriving yeshiva there. There's a mikveh that we saw. And these are things that have been put together over the years of people's generous donations towards the United Jewish communities of Eastern Europe and Asia. And because of that, what we went to see right now was very impressive. We went to see the school. We saw the Beis Yaakov there, and we saw the boys' school there. Amazing. It was amazing what we saw there. They don't have too much. Their school buildings do not look like our school buildings. Their school buildings were kind of old, decrepit, etc. And yet the quality of the learning that was going on over there was certainly amazing. I very appreciated it. So again, thank you all for coming on this trip, and we look forward to going back there again and taking more people with us and bring the awareness of what was there, and certainly, hopefully, that the situation there will resolve itself, and we'll all share together in many happiness. Thank you.
Literally there's tens of thousands of Jews that come to Ukraine every year that stop in our shul. And there's never been in years, probably 10 years, a real delegation that has come to visit the community specifically. And the first day that we got there, the feeling that I had from the community was just like we were regular visitors. Seriously. Just like when they have groups going to Uman, they stop and eat by the restaurant, and they go visit the shul and make fun of the community there, or just look at them like visitors, like tourists, and the feeling that the community got, what the community has always had from the thousands and tens of thousands of Jews that pass through Ukraine a year, is that okay, we're maybe a little tourist attraction for a minute, and then you leave. But as the weekend was going, and the community realized that we're here because we're here for solidarity. Whether it was stopping with the Upsharon that we went to Friday morning for Yochanan Kroll, father of very chashuv man in the yeshiva. We have pictures of everybody snipping the hair, to the Upsharon Friday nights, to different people came over to me. I didn't realize this wasn't part of the objective of the delegation, but there were different people from our delegation that gave a little money to the young man here, a little money to the young man there, and there was just that $50 that was given, the present that was given to the children. One of the people in our delegation raised money for the cheder, just to buy toys for the class. There was a feeling of, wow, someone cares about us. Because of what happened the past year, and just to understand, the dollar is 16 grivna right now. When I got there on Wednesday, it was 15.8. When we left, it was 16.1 already. So we're talking about it's rapidly declining, and they get paid in grivna. So their money, they get, the average person that works there is getting paid $200 a month around. So what we came to show them that we care about them was, it was just people that, I don't know if I should say this on video, but there were, at the wedding when a lot of the Ingolite were a little high and drunk, they came over to me and literally were crying to me, thanking me for coming, thanking me for bringing my own. They weren't treated like Russians are very sensitive. And they weren't treated like, oh, you're coming to look at us, you're coming to like tourists. They felt like we came to care about them, and I think it was from the feeling that I had from the community, from everybody that came, it was just an amazing experience that everybody was feeling.
Just want to say, when Menachem asked me to go, I thought I was going to be going. We were going to be mechazik, the community over there, humanitarian aid. I can't tell you how much, conjuring that, how much I was mechazik from this trip. Obviously, we gave them, a tremendous amount of chizik, but going into a young man's house Friday night, thinking that we were going to be getting sardines at best, and their $500 a month salary, giving most of their salary just to be able to feed us, to make us feel like we're at home. The amount of chizik that they gave to me, and I think everybody was on the, giving us like we were, we were part of their family, and Obviously, they're by the chasna. You're seeing the little kids over there dancing like it's one big family. And I was asking even some of the kids in the community, do you know the chasna? Obviously, they know them, but the whole community came together. It wasn't about friends. And it's just, you walk into shul Friday night. I know by my shul, everybody is, the kids go and they want 5, 6, 7 candies from the candy man. They're still not happy. Giving a lollipop to a kid over there in the shul Friday night, the smile on their face is unbelievable. It's just, you see them, smiling just by being with them and giving them a little lolly. They have nothing, and they're not, they're still happy. And it's just an unbelievable experience, seeing their simcha without having too much on their tables and willing to do anything for us. Like they're hosting us, like they're doing us the favor by we were coming to them, and they're still the simcha. And obviously when we left the place, everyone just people that came over to me and thanked me was with tears by the chasana and telling us how we took a chasana that is usually a few people by them dancing around. And the simcha that the chassan had on his face, and me dancing with him, and he doesn't know me, I don't know him, and he's hugging me like I'm his best friend, is just unbelievable.
I just want to just follow up on. You're a closer, Nikki. You know that, because nobody can go after you. I just want to follow up with what Menashe said. I think everybody was mostly inspired by the chedarim, the way the kids learned with Geshmak. I think what I was personally is the unbelievable dedication of the Rebbeim. The Rebbeim there are stars. The Manal HaCheder, any moisid here would pay him top dollar to work. Besides being Manal, to be a Cheder Rebbe. The love and they have for the kids, and you saw in shul, all the kids were around the Rebbeim, and at the Chasana, the Rebbeim were all dancing with the kids. And just the whole community was so welcoming, and they were happy to see us. I stayed by, and these people, all of them, have no problem getting jobs anywhere else. The one that we went to eat by, Rabbi Nyworth, the man has been there for 16 years. He could work anywhere in Kiev. He's from out of the country. He speaks many languages. He's tremendously talented. One night we went to it's called Marasha, which is like an outreach program. I called up my wife, and they said I couldn't believe this. He had shaitels, tichels. He had obviously people in between, but it looked like it could be any out of town thing where everybody dressed properly, and the work they've done is unbelievable. As for the chasna, I want to say that I think that people felt that the oilam there really, our oilam went way and above. First of all, we had no inhibitations. We weren't embarrassed of anybody. So some guys really did things that we hope we don't get the video of. But in general, and to top it off at the end, we went out together at night to some place with a whole bunch of the Russian Light, and it was really, really a wonderful closure for the thing. We saw how they really appreciated us, and they really need help, and we try to help them. And what Rabbi Bleich and other people have done there is amazing. None of us, I don't think there's one person that expected to see what we saw.
It's too much. No.
Don't worry, he's not doing the whole thing. He's going to cut it.
When we were traveling from Odessa down towards Kiev, or it's up, I don't know the map, we stopped off in a town called Zhytomyr, where we stopped there for mikveh, shachris, and we were served a great breakfast by our Mendel, who was a shliach in Zhytomyr, a great man. And right after breakfast, we took a horse and buggy, and we went to visit the community over there. They have a smaller community than Kiev and Odessa. And while we were visiting them, we had to travel through the woods, like in the olden days with a horse and buggy. And in the middle was a long ride uphill. We took a break. And on the side, standing next to the trees, Mendel told us a great word. He says, look over here in the woods. All the trees are standing tall up, straight, very, very high, much higher than what you see in your own backyard. And he says, why is that? All over the woods you'll see thousands of straight trees directly up, all the way high, and then in a little community we have one tree here, one tree there, and going in that direction and that direction, it only hits about 20 to 30 feet max. And he said, the reason is because that one tree that's sitting on its own has nobody to lean on, has nobody to hold it, has nobody to grow with. And therefore it's going to be short and falling on an angle. Unlike these trees in the woods, they go straight up, one next to each other. They hold each other's shoulder. They might have politics. They might have things that they don't agree with. But at the same time, they're together. They're ba'achtas. They live one with each other and they bring each other directly straight up and to the highest height a tree could get. And that is something I saw over the whole Ukraine and especially in Kiev, by Rabbi Bleich and his community. The achdas, they're like a woods full of trees. They hold each other together. They come to shul, they daven, they eat. Everything is together. They hold each other, families. There's no such a thing as someone having his own problem. A problem in the community belongs to the whole community. And that is something I see Rabbi Bleich working on every minute that I was there, and I'm sure the whole entire year. He's an amazing person that he takes every single person in that community and he makes them into the closest family possible. And that's why we are all so inspired by Kiev. They're just amazing people. And I myself was so inspired. Odessa? Okay, you're going to have to paste, cut, edit, and bring it around. When we got into Odessa, we got picked up by the leaders of the community from the airport, and we were brought to visit the kindergartens, orphanage homes. And I gotta say, I've never seen something like this before in my life. You have a home of 50, 60, 70, depending on the home, kids, little kids, adults, teenagers, that they live there. There is no father or mother to take care of these kids, and these kids are the happiest kids. They wake up in the morning with a smile, they go to sleep with a smile. The food they get served on dishes, there is no such thing as paper plates there. They're not strangers in a, who knows where, eating what. They're treated there with servants and waiters as if they're kids of the kings, which they are. They say, Chazal say, kids that don't have a father and mother, God is their father and their mother. So, Odessa, this is a shout out to you. You guys are amazing in what you do to all those kids. And another thing we had very interesting in Odessa was the week that Eli Sandarovitz called me up and said, you're coming to Kiev. I said, okay. And about 3 hours later, I got an email from Yisrael Meir Gaba, who's in charge of all the Kvarim in Europe and over the whole Ukraine and Russia, showing me a picture of my great-great-grandfather's Kever, who was the Odessa Rav about 100 years ago. He was the known Rav of Odessa. And I asked him where it is. He didn't know exactly where it is, but he said it's in the cemetery, Chalka Sadikim. You're going to have to find it on your own. We called ahead, we got there, and while we were there, when we were doing Kaddish, we said Tehillim, we sang songs over there. One of the guys on the group came up to us and asked if he has any relatives. And I said, yeah. And he says, Shachman, last name, same thing? And I said, yeah. And we ended up finding my great-great-grandmother also, which is his wife, which is a Rebbetzin, which is a big mashpia over there in Odessa back in the day. And just to prove that God is with us. Thank you.